Have you wanted to use your home equity to pay off debt or improve your house, but found the old way too painful? There's now a new, better option for accessing your home equity. It's called HomePace. Here's the key. It's not a loan, so there's no monthly payments or interest. Instead, HomePace gives you money up front as an investment in your home. That's right, you get money that you can use however you want without the burden of monthly payments. Then someday when you decide to sell, you share a portion of the gains or losses in your home's value with HomePace. That means if your home's value drops, HomePace takes a loss too. HomePace gives homeowners a better choice to access home equity. No monthly payments, no interest. To get an instant quote, go to homepace.com/quote. It takes less than 5 minutes. That's homepace/quote to get started.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey folks, welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. We have Rich Latta, and I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to tell Rich to go ahead, and I'm just going to step to the side for now. So, Rich, the floor is yours.
Welcome back to One Nation Radio after 2 weeks off. Fresh off a motherfucker's ass. Shout out to Tanya. I believe I seen her tweet her location as that one time. But today, there is a special pack going in the air right now for someone I've been told is one of the 5 greatest point guards to ever live. Someone that the analytics have tried to tell me was better than Kobe Bean Bryant in 2008. Someone that John Hollinger won't let it go. Ryan Russillo sounded like a family member died on the Bill Simmons podcast. The way he was talking about the disappointment of Chris Paul. My God. Slander time. Let's go. Fire it up. James, I was not on the show last year. I've waited 2 years for this. I've waited 2 years for tonight. Last year, I was off the show for whatever reason when they lost last year. I don't know what I was doing, but it was a solo James show. So I did not get to fire him up last year.
I don't remember this at all, but go ahead.
I did not slander him for the loss in the bubble. I figured I had respect for the way he competed that game. I liked it. I didn't want to do it to him. But this year,
lost in the bubble. Oh, with the Thunder against the Rockets?
Right.
Oh,
this year, yeah. Yes, sir. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a little image here. So give me just a moment on this here. And those of you that are on the podcast, I just want, just check out this final score for me real quick. I know it's backwards, but so Chris Paul came in here. I was watching these boys get smoked last night. Like, this was a goddamn demolition. Feel free to join in with me.
Oh, I mean, they're awful. I mean, they start Ayton, Chris, and Booker all started 1 for 15. Or no, they had 1 for 15 in the first half. And it's one, how are you 3 only shooting 15 shots? And 2, how the fuck do you only make 1 basket? So, yeah, it was awful. It was all-time terrible performance. It's inexplicable that a team that literally makes his offense is like one of the greatest, not one of the greatest offenses, but like one of the best offenses in the league this year. And their whole entire offense is predicated on they make all the tough shots. They take all the shots that nobody wants to give up, like, or they let their defenses give you. Like, they don't get to the free throw line a lot. They don't shoot a lot of threes. They don't get to the hoop. It's all about Booker and Chris Paul getting mid-range jumpers and long twos. And then, like, they just literally did nothing. And, like, Chris Paul had nothing. He had nothing at all. Booker, I can give Booker the excuse of, well, he's getting doubled a lot, but it's like, you're a stone cold scorer. If you're a stone cold scorer, like, the gravity, you attracting two people should be enough to get other people open shots and looks, and like nothing doing. And like the crazy thing about it is, like, I got to the game late and I'm looking at it like they're down 5, and like they were down 5 for a minute throughout the whole first quarter. I'm like, okay, they're down 5. And I'm looking like, okay, well, they're not fucking scoring. They're playing defense, or they're stopping the Mavericks. I'm like, the Mavericks aren't like going nuts and making a bunch of threes like game 4. I'm like, okay, all right, well, their defense actually showed up this game. They're playing defense. Like, they weren't giving up, like, damn near or 44 three-pointers. So I'm like, okay, they'll start scoring. And then it keeps going, and, like, they're not even getting, like, even halfway decent looks. And it's like, their offense looks nothing like you've seen them ever since Chris Paul's been there. He's like, what? Not even, like, at times when they struggled against the Bucks last year did their offense look this lost. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm just watching Chris. I'm thinking about how Chris played throughout the whole entire series. I'm like, well, he's injured. And I'm like, but I'm not giving him the excuse that he's injured. It's like, you're injured. You're playing so bad that, like, why should we care if you're injured? Even if you are. Like, you have no juice. And quite frankly, given what happened with the Lakers series last year, where he had that stinger and, like, he couldn't dribble the ball, couldn't shoot. He was out there and, like, made the series close and was, like, literally being a liability to his team because he's being selfish and playing. I'm like, all right, campaign has more juice than you right now. It's time for you to sit. And eventually Chris got his, was able to get feeling back and to be able to shoot later in the series, and the series is over. But it was like, yo, this is just like that series is just like the series, like the end of the finals, where all of a sudden, like, he has to go get hand surgery at the end of the finals. And it's like, this is like, hey man, like, I know that Chad Matthews, like, he's a Chris Paul hater because, like, NC State guy, he punched Julius Haas in the nuts, and then also in the same game hit the fucking game winner. So, like, he's always gonna fucking hate that guy. I get it, but like, after I think after the 2018 finals, or the 2018 Western finals, like, he had basically got off the hating thing, just like, well, he's just not reliable because he'll always be injured. And I was like, oh, I see. You have now changed it from, he's not a crunch time player, he can't do X, Y, and Z, to he's proved to you that, and now it's write him off as he's always injured. Well, what, 19, 20, 21, 22, 4 years later, I'm in that camp now where it's like, his play isn't the play isn't the question. It's his body always betrays him. You can't rely on that dude because his body's always betray him. It's not the play. It's always the body. And hey, and that's just as good as you stinking up the joint by being healthy. It doesn't matter. Like, if you can't get the job done, you can't get the job done. It's tragic in a way, but it is what it is. He's my second favorite active player in the league right now, still, but I can't. There's nothing to say about this. Like, as many, I can point out all the great moments he's had in the postseason or whatever else. Like, he's not like a James Harden situation, but
we gonna get to him too.
James Harden,
yes.
Oh yeah, he got his name the same round. Yeah, like, he's not like he's a James Harden. Like, this dude has had like master fourth quarters, had great closeout games, hit game winners against former champions, all that kind of stuff. That's not the point. Like, we put him on, or not we put him on his level. His play is of a certain level of player, and when it came down to time and time again, where it's time for him to be in that situation, don't get me wrong, he's been on a lot of, like, funky ass teams with weird roster constructions. Quite frankly, like, this Suns team is like the last year's, like, the best, like, fit for him in his career ever, in years 16 and 17. But that's not the point. It's like, at some point, we got to stop for the people that are Chris Paul fans like me. At some point, you got to be like, he just get the job done. And, like, that's kind of where I am on it. Like, I don't hate him or I'm not mad at him. And I don't feel like he's let me down or anything. But it's like, this was your blast shot to win the title and the door's officially closed. So, like, I can't be like, well, maybe, because I always play the cloud where, like, there's going to be time. There'll be time where the stars align and whatever else. And then last year it happened. And then sure enough, like, nah, it didn't align. Your hand's fucking broken. Fuck you. Like, you never get a chance.
Nothing.
So
look,
there you go.
5-0 leads blown. Him and Doc Rivers, just like Kendrick Lamar, united in grief.
That's the thing. I never even realized like the being up 2-0 was like a thing until like Chris Paul apparently now. I never even knew it was a thing. Like I can't recall. Frauds. I can't know. Like 3-1, yeah, that's definitely a thing. 2-0, I never even realized was a thing until just like this series apparently.
James, I just want to know, like, why did the media not this year? Why didn't they ask Devin Booker about how bad he felt for Chris Paul again?
Oh, because Booker also stunk. And that's a weird one. Like Booker had never had a bad. I think this had to be his worst playoff game. Got to be.
Yeah, Luka barbecue grilled these boys. And
that's the part that's funny is like, do you think the Mavs are good?
No.
Exactly.
No.
like I would like, especially. I don't know if you followed this series closely at all, but it's like every home team. Every home game except for Game 7, the home team won and it wasn't competitive by the fourth quarter, right? They just pulled away and won by double digits and like, or at least, or the game was out of reach and like maybe someone got it to singles digits, but like the game, that was not an indicator of how close the game was or how far apart both teams were at home. And like the things I was seeing with like, the Mavs and the Suns in both of these games, like, nothing ever led me to believe that, like, the Suns were ever going to lose this fucking series until Game 7 happened. I'm looking up and like, oh, they're done. They're cooked. Like,
I got to watching the game late. I tuned in and it was 47-27 or excuse me, it was 57-27. And I was like,
halftime.
I was like, what is going on here? And I immediately...
wrong, like, we got to give Luka some credit. Luka had 27 in the first half. He was incredible. Bro, but, like, he could have had 15 and they still would have smoked them.
So check this out. So after the game ended, I watched all the post-game coverage and then, like, the game started over again, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me check this first quarter out. And when I tell you, this man, Luka, came out and he already, like... He had decided to finish ahead of time, James. Like, this man came out here and was like, threes. I'm shaking all you off me. I'm backing you down. There's nothing they can do with this man. Like, nothing.
Like the one where he posted up Aiden from like base from the top of the free throw line, like down to like 13 feet or probably like 12 feet, and then like hit the turnaround over the top. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen somebody like do that to somebody that good defensively at center. That's weird. That's that, you know, that's like has that big of a size mismatch. It was weird. And I was like, whatever. Like maybe, like Aiden, all throughout the postseason got put, or not throughout the postseason, but in this series got like put in weird positions with Luka. So it's like, maybe he was seeing ghosts, was like, I can't put too much force on him, otherwise he's gonna get by me on for lay it in or whatever else. But like that was embarrassing because you watch it and you can be without context, you're like, did he just muscle a center, an NBA center? He didn't, but it looked like it.
They've wanted to just hand everything to Chris Paul for years and years about, where he's at on the all-time list and all that. And I would get real pissed when I hear, people talking about the best point guard ever and, forgetting people like Magic Johnson existed and Isaiah Thomas existed. Like, no, like Steph Curry doesn't exist at the same goddamn time. Like, no, like stop this. He's never winning as the best player on a team ever. He should go probably sign up for one of those Gary Payton rings, see if you can latch on somewhere, figure it out, whatever you got to do. If you want to keep, you know, if you want to keep coming out in this league, and then when the time May and June comes up, you coming up lame, like we've seen this movie before, and it has multiple chapters. Like, fire this man up. Like,
you know what I'm worried about? Like, if you do the like, well, you know, get him in a situation where he's just a luxury and then you baby him. Like, I'm worried that like he ends up like that 2014 Wade thing, where it's like you did all this fucking coddling and he still breaks down on you in the finals. You know, do you remember that? Like, he played like 50 games that year. LeBron doesn't know when. LeBron has no idea when like when he's coming in and out. Like, he's finding out like in like an hour before the game that Wade is not going to play and shit like that. And then like he looks perfectly fine throughout the first 3 rounds, and then the finals happen. It's almost like a fucking vampire sucked his essence out of him. It's like, what the fuck just happened here? And like, I feel like if you're in a situation where you're that desperate enough to go get Chris Paul at this point now going forward in the rest of his career, then like, nah, man, like he's gonna lay it down to you at some point, some stretch. Like the veganism shit. I got a cousin named Alex. He's a vegan, and like he always like anytime
maybe he needs some meat for them bones.
But that's the thing, right? It's like you talk about like the veganism has extended its prime, and maybe it has extended its prime, but he still fucking breaks down at the most crucial time every time you need him. It don't matter. It don't matter.
You know, within minutes, you know, he was coming out with the injury, you know, immediately out of that LeBron handcast playbook. We just talking about how tired Chris Paul is. Nobody's allowed to criticize this man. Nobody's allowed to say anything bad about this guy. Pat Bev got on TV and tuned this man up, and I don't like being on the side of Pat Bev, but unfortunately,
especially because he out there lying his ass off too.
You don't believe it. There.
Hey, serious question, right? Do we have? Because we got to talk about the fucking Matt Barnes part of it too. So, all right, let's go. Let's talk about that part. I only saw
Chris
one
Paul,
or two
I don't
things.
appreciate
What all
this.
did he say?
One more thing for Chris Paul. I don't appreciate this, by the way. These niggas were down 40 points. 40 points. And this is a big contention of like the reason why I've never really gravitated towards Chris Paul, because I felt like some of the stats is fake. Like, they were monkey stats. Like, they were down 40 points. He had one single point midway through the third quarter, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, he wanted to start shooting to try to get to 10 points. Like, why were you in the game at all? Like, to get to 10 points and to shoot 50%. What happened? To shoot 50% from the floor. He was 4 for 8. Me and Kirby were laughing, like seeing what's going on. Like, this was some bullshit that he was doing at the end of that game, and he should be called out for it. And the Suns like completely like imploded in a way that I've never seen in my lifetime for a team at home in Game 7. New grounds being broken here.
I'd have to go to I have to look up something on like Basketball Reference to try to gauge. Like, I don't recall any home team on a Game 7 like just completely like just.
Look, I've seen plenty of Laker blowout losses. All them just be on the road, like, you know, in like Game 6 or something like that. Like, there's never no, hey, we showing up, chips on the line, everything else. One shot left, and they came out here and they had nothing. And the game, the final score does not even indicate how close that was.
And they lost by like 30.
It was more like they were down at 46 at one point.
Yeah, and I don't even, and like apparently there was some shit that's going on with Aiden and Monty Williams and like people are roughly talking about, but not like referencing what the fuck's actually going on with them. And like, it's like, what is going on? I have no idea. Yeah, so the Pat Bev part.
Oh, so he basically called that man a cone. He said, Chris Paul can't guard anybody anymore. The whole league knows it. This is stuff the players talk about, but like, you know, no one on TV actually picks up on. He said, what do we do for guys like that? Like it's a cone, like you dribble around it. What does the cone do? It don't move, essentially. He said he loses no sleep over Chris Paul. Like when he's preparing, like, you know, if he had to play, Chris Paul the next day, he don't care. He gonna go get him some wine. He gonna have a steak and he gonna sweat it out before in the shoot around. But Steph Curry, he's gonna tell his lady not to hit him up. He's going to sleep early. He's all that when he's facing somebody like Steph.
And then keep in mind, like this is the same like Chris Paul he's talking about that tuned his ass up for 40 something and eliminated him last year in the playoffs. So like that's why like I'm just laughing at like this stuff because like one, I don't know if you know this, and I didn't want to say this because it's not like I don't want to like to let people know that like Santa Claus is not real, but it's like Pat Bev was on JJ Redick's podcast this year and talked about like how Pat Bev was like in one of them Chris Paul camps. And like he's known Chris Paul for forever, and like he loves Chris Paul, and Chris Paul has helped him out in this and the third. Like he's been full on gimmick mode, like trying to get this job as media because he knows at the end of his days. So like the whole time I know what's going on, and like or whatever else. And then like he talked about like with the push thing was like I pushed him because I was frustrated with whatever else, and I apologized after the fact. He talked about all that, right? So for me, like I know all of this, and like he's doing this, and like I guess people don't really know that like he's in full gimmick. So he's going off and doing this. So I'm like, it's funny, whatever. It's funny.
He's like, give him the Ben Simmons slander,
right?
Like,
it's funny. One is funny. Two, he don't believe a single word of it. Three, if you know anything, you know he's full on gimmick. So like I'm enjoying it, like because it's like he's kicking somebody while he's already that like embarrassed of a national television, right? So I'm like, whatever. So then Matt Barnes comes after him later ESPN programming and was like, "You're a role player. Chris Paul will be remembered forever as one of the all-time great players or whatever else. First Battle Hall of Famer. Just had a third. Like you were more like me. You're a role player in the league. Chris Paul had an awful series by his standards, and even by these shitty standards that he set in this series, like these numbers that he had are still better than your career numbers." And I was like, okay, so like, how come I know it's a joke, but Matt Barnes knows it's a joke? Like I was at least trying to have some fun out of like the shit, out of the misery this was for me as a Chris Paul fan to watch, and like and then Matt Barnes is like, no, we can't talk about Chris Paul like this. Yeah, we can. He was awful.
That's exactly why. Look, that is a perfect example of why people like me and the lead nations of motherfuckers be on people's ass about you're not allowed to talk about Chris Paul like this. Like, why?
But
why
can't we
talk about him?
I think the thing is like, quite frankly, nobody. Okay, because I feel like it's a us versus them mentality thing and the fraternity, where it's like there's all these fucking shows where Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith spend a great chunk of their day talking about what someone didn't do because they're not fucking Jesus on wheels or Jesus in sneakers. And like, they all feel like outside of, the rivalry that is, we got to go through these people and play them for 2 weeks, to get to where we want to go. Outside of that, it's just pleasantries and say whatever, but then like, say to people behind the scenes how they really feel about each other and actually really be competitive. So, I think the part where it's like, it's been so long since somebody actually came out and slandered another NBA player to NBA player. And like, you kind of got these like, these new dudes that are like, I don't mean that pejoratively, but like these, like the guys like the Grizzlies and like Ant Edwards that are just like, they say what they feel and they don't really care. And they're not really saying nothing like problematic. It's just like, I don't like this dude, he's in my way. I'm going to say I don't like this dude, he's in my way, as opposed to kind of being like, yeah, he's great. We're going to compete.
Young fellas was celebrating Chris Paul demise.
So I think the thing is like, the league has been so buttoned up about that for, I don't know, last 20 years that it's kind of like, somebody, wow, somebody's really going back to this? That feels weird. And like, Matt Barnes is a part of that guard where like we didn't talk about this, like this, it's in the fraternity, like we don't really talk about this. So like he's kind of like he's trying to check him out. But the thing with Pat Bev is like, one, he's a fucking ridiculous person, and two, like we know he thinks like, I'm gonna come up here and say some bullshit. Y'all know I don't really mean this. And so I think like the part where it's kind of like, and also it's like because he's so, stick around the league, he's so immature, like he kind of gravitates to the young dudes. That's why him and Ant Edwards get together or like get along so well. It's like, oh, so you're a grown ass man that hangs out with 22-year-olds. I get it. this makes so much sense now. Like, it makes so much sense. That's why y'all get along so well. Like, you figured out how to stick around this league by being like this kind of like immature risk taker that's okay with injuring people, but like, so the 22-year-old gets it because he don't know no damn better. Okay, gotcha. Makes perfect sense now. So, but yeah, Matt Barnes coming out being the adult, it was like, I get the feel why you feel you need to be an adult, but like, nah, it's not that serious, man. It's not that serious. It's not.
Tell you, let this man get tuned up.
Yeah,
let him get tuned up. So I don't know what happens with Phoenix going forward. They have a lot of things to figure out as far as DeAndre Ayton and his pay.
Well, it's not just Ayton. It's like all them dudes are coming up. Like, okay, they already paid Bridges. Chris Paul took a pay cut to try to make the luxury tax less painful for Sarver, who's notoriously cheap. Devin Booker is like 2 years away from, or I think he's eligible for the max right now, like, or this summer. He should get it. If not, then he's gonna be like, get me the fuck out of here probably in 2 years. Or it's a countdown to that. Chris is 37?
Look,
36? No, 36, 37. So like,
he's smart 37, yeah.
Yeah, so like with, like Bridges already got paid. So it's like, that team realistically is not going to be able to stay together.
Look, they might be done. Grand opening, grand closing.
Not might be. This was their last shot. The only way they were going to stay together. The only way they were going to stay together is if they had won a title this year, and then like you look at Sarver and be like, "You're gonna break up a championship team, you fucking moron."
Exactly. Look, Robert Sarver has shown you that he will break this shit down like Degeneration X at the first sign of like that he's able to.
Oh yeah, like
this is a cursed franchise.
Generationally cheap.
Look, this is a cursed franchise. They've never won. I hate the Phoenix Suns as a staff record label and a crew for the mid 2000s.
Think of that Suns team from that era, right? They traded the draft pick that turned out to be Rajon Rondo. They didn't pay Joe Johnson to come back. Ruined Steve Nash's career. Ruined Amari Stoudemire's career. Ruined Shawn Marion's career.
Shawn Marion.
Yeah, like just just always cheap. So yeah. Boris Diaw, yeah, go to the Bobcats. Go get fat. We're not going to pay you.
Let's make a quick turn to the East. In James Harden, in the Sixers, and Joel Embiid. James Harden, a choke artist. Just admire the work of the choking. Just get a lozenge. Whatever you got to do. Just like. When it's amazing how fast they lose it. And I do not envy the Philadelphia 76ers and their upcoming decision, which it seems like a decision was already made before James Harden walked in the door that he was being extended on the Supermax. And
that's why he would show up, right? Or you assume something like that. This just happened with Chris Paul, right? But at least here's the thing, right? This is crazy. James Harden is what, your age, right?
Yeah, he's 32.
He's 32, and like we're talking about getting him to. I think he can't get 5 years. I don't think he can get 5 years. So he
can get 5 from the Sixers.
Oh, you can? Okay, so we're talking about getting him to 37-ish on 5 years, right? And it's like
it's gonna be 5 years, 250.
Right, and you look at it and you're like, okay, Chris Paul is 37. I'd much rather be paying out the rest of what Chris Paul's contract is at 37 going into like damn near 40 than James Harden going through 30s, through his mid to late 30s. That sounds
James Harden will be he is like a lock to become the worst contract in the league.
Oh yeah. I mean, unless somehow, well, obviously it's not going to happen. I'm saying unless like somehow Westbrook gets extended, but like this is the last year of his deal coming up. Like he's not getting that kind of money ever again. So yeah, you're right.
And man, pay James Harden, trust James Harden. Think James Harden is going to dedicate himself to the game.
He's done.
I don't see it.
It's too late. It's too late. Like somebody said this to me, but like they brought up flashes of like the promo that Daniel Bryan.
It was me.
Bryan Danielson had to Eddie Kingston was like, there's not enough work you could do in the next X amount of time to make up for what you haven't done over the past, whatever. And it's like, James Harden burnt the candle at both ends for a decade. And while he is one of the most prolific offensive talents in NBA history, absolutely, unquestionably, we knew that was going to come at a cost. Regardless of his skill set, he wasn't going to be a person that aged well. But we thought it was going to be like he was going to have his early 30s. He's in his early 30s and he's toast. Like we thought I thought he was going to age out like a normal NBA player, great NBA player does, where it's like gets to like 33 and that's kind of the end, and he'll probably hold on a few more years. He looks like he's already at like 30. He look like he's like 3 years from being out of the league.
Like he looked like he need to go to Guangdong, China, statue, go over there with the Shanghai Sharks, find one of those franchises. I think Yao Ming made, he got that Rockets connection. It was a Rocket for all them years. He can take it to China, and maybe try it out. He can score 50 a game over there.
I don't know if that's even a thing anymore because of Maury in 2019.
That's true, but Maury, I tend to think
2020. I'm sorry, 2020. Sorry.
I think Maury would be different from a player because player wasn't involved. I know
they punched the league. They pulled a lot of shit at the time.
I was going to say, I know our Chinese brothers and sisters sometimes don't really do well with the nuance, especially like the decision makers on that. Yeah. So, like, they ain't really one for trying to figure out what went wrong.
We're not no nuance. We just all of it. Just get it out of here.
Yeah, so that's a solid point, but I think Guangdong and Shanghai might be fine options for James Harden from this point forward.
Yeah,
Doc Rivers, come to the stage.
Oh yeah, Doc. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, one is like, okay, so if Doc had just lost, I'm not really. If they had just lost, or maybe. As far as Doc, the Sixers just lost or whatever else, I'm not really going to throw, many barbs at Doc because like they lost to a better team. The best players broke the fuck up. He's beaten to hell or whatever else. It is what it is. But it's like
he tried to get in front of this bus.
They played so pathetically.
He tried to get in front of this bus when he knew that L was coming. So, you guys want to talk about my blown series over all these years, but
wrong.
Yeah, he fucked up the years.
Like, they made they won the final. That was the year before, man.
Yeah,
that was the year before. They made the East Conference Finals, but no. Nice try though.
Yeah. It's just Doc doing him, man. I ain't seen nobody ride one championship like this since, I was trying to think of someone in wrestling shit. Jinder Mahal is going to be WWE champion forever.
Well, you could have said The Miz, but The Miz became a 2-time champion.
Correct. Jinder Mahal became a one-time champion, right?
Yeah.
Just like Doc Rivers became a one-time champion, but we've had to deal with him signing everyone out of the Eastern Conference forever, coaching the Clippers into numerous chokes. As I mentioned earlier, united in grief with Chris Paul. And then I'm staring him down possibly as the next Lakers coach. So I was like,
do you really believe that though?
Why not? It fits everything they want. Like they want a veteran coach.
How do you keep
someone that will stand, quote unquote, stand up to LeBron, old guy coach for old, it's Doc Rivers or Mark Jackson. And it's going to be an old team. Jesus, like they're not going to get some young coach in there or whatever.
I think the thing for me when it comes to Doc, just like
Phil Jackson coached against them.
I think the thing when it comes to Doc for me, just like he has the same fatal flaw over and over and over again.
Like somebody sells him out in the organization and don't want to play for him. They all quit on him.
Well, I was going to say, I guess there's that, but I was going to say like, he always goes down by over relying on his players and he gives his players too much rope and the rope ends up fucking strangling them every single time. Like they lost that Okay, so like they lost 2020 NBA Finals because like he trusted that Rasheed Wallace, who was out of shape and like not playing, was going to be able to play like 30 minutes in an NBA Finals Game 7. It almost paid off until Artest made that shot and then it was over. But you know, like that will get you killed, and it did. You look at those Clippers series where it's like he's always relying on Blake Griffin to exhaust the tank, and then like he has nothing left for these fourth quarters, and it's literally Chris Paul playing like 4 or 3 on 5 on offense at the end of these series, right? Like, and they end up losing, right? If they ever get Chris and Blake healthy together at the same time in the same postseason, you know, most times that didn't even happen. But so you had that. Then the bubble thing with the Nuggets blowing the 3-1 lead is like Paul George is all over the fucking place, and like you can't corral him. He's gonna let him play. Montrez is shelling himself after his grandmother died, and you still playing these minutes. He's out there getting fucking torched by Jokic, and like that. See what happened there. And then this series is like he fucking kept insisting on playing DeAndre Jordan, and it's like, bro, the last time DeAndre Jordan was a viable NBA player, you were coaching him the last time in 2017 and 18. He's been cooked since then. He should be out the league, but he sticks around because he's like, it's almost like when people talk
Everyone
about,
loves him.
Because people talk about how,
James, are you about to say what I think you're about to say?
How Cody was talking about Disco Inferno. Yes.
No, I thought you were going to say DeAndre Jordan is the Luke Gallows of the NBA.
Oh, nah, I wasn't going to say that, but I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
That means you have great friends that keep you around for a long time getting money.
Okay. I mean, that's a part of it. But like with him, it's just like, hey, so you're not good. You're not good enough to be a starter in the NBA. Like Jared Allen was cooking you, but like because you're friends with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, you start with Jared Allen. While Jared Allen like gets traded and immediately makes a fucking All-Star team. Like, okay, all right, bro, whatever. Like, what the fuck? And then he like Miami plays small. Like Bam is a small ball center. And like he's fucking run him off the court, and like he's like, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to stick with my guy or whatever else. I'm just like, and then proceeds to start him, but then like take him off the floor immediately after starting him. And it's like, oh, so like this is like
the ceremonial.
So right, like you're trying to be nice and pat, you know, trying to give the carrot to DeAndre, thinking that he's dumb enough to not realize he's not playing anymore. Like, get the fuck out of here, bench him. So like, yeah, like this is what gets him done all the time. And like the one thing I will give Doc is this, like from the year before Doc shows up somewhere to the year after, his star players always play better. He always empowers them to be better, and it doesn't result in necessarily a better. Actually, I take it back. Like sometimes, or no, because the Clippers actually, yeah, no, in a sense, but like the Clippers actually like improved win loss wise once Doc got there. I can't really as far as the Sixers. I can't remember what the Sixers. Their record's about the same as it's always been. Like they, you know, in the 50s or whatever else. Yeah, they're basically stuck in the same spot. But it's like that also comes to mind as like, well, they didn't have Ben Simmons all fucking year. They didn't get James Harden until like February or March or whatever it was. So maybe they would have had a better record had they actually had, you know, a max level player playing in that maximum level spot that just, you know, didn't show up because they didn't want to show up to work. In the words of Stephen A. Smith. But it didn't matter. Like, James Harden is done. He's past that stage of his career where he is a dynamic scorer. And even when he was a dynamic scorer, he would completely collapse in the playoffs often. So whatever.
Just roll the footage, everybody. Like, yeah. I remember, I'll never forget that year when
Manu blocked
Manu.
No Tony
that's
Parker.
when I knew.
No Kawhi. Was that game 6?
It was game 6.
Game 6.
They had to take
their Manu blocks from behind. Yeah.
They had to take their ass back home for game 7, then blew it at home because, like, I think Harden was like 2 of 11 that game or some shit.
What series
was like the same series.
Okay.
And then from there, you know, just lost to the Warriors a jillion times. So, Yeah, but speaking of Warriors, Warriors are there.
Speaking of Warriors and speaking of the Rockets and those playoff series, can we talk about the Bucks real quick for like split second? Not really go into it. Like,
I ain't really got nothing on the Bucks.
Their guards sucked. Middleton didn't play. They ended up having to play Giannis and Lopez and Portis together to get one of them sorry guards off the floor because Wes Matthews and Grayson Allen and Connaughton, they couldn't do shit by Game 7. So, like, they had to play a super big lineup, and they end up going down, losing death by a million paper cuts for threes. But the Bucks shot so poorly from three that they shot a worse 3-point percentage than that 2018 Rockets team did in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, where they missed, and that team missed 27 straight threes. They shot a worse percentage than the 27 missed threes in a game, Rich. That's like, what?
Bro, it's like, I thought that was once in a lifetime. Apparently not.
Apparently not. But yeah, that's all I had. That's really all I had to say, or whatever. That's what I had to say about that series.
You know, Giannis, still like a man among men. Still,
yeah, he's at that level now where it's like shots don't fall. He's still fucking impactful as hell. Like he shot for shit in Game 7 or whatever else. Still ended up with 25, 20, and 9 while shooting like shit from the whole series, missing layups. Like, yeah,
he'll be back.
I don't know about back because like they got another guard. I think they're kind of stuck where they are with the teammate. I don't think they can go get another quality guard, so they might be stuck. But like they'll be in the second round and in the third round for the next few years. Yeah.
Oh man. And then the Warriors are old faithful. Getting the Grizzle out of here. There was a lot that kind of went on in this series. Like, I thought it had the makings of like a Thunder versus Lakers kind of vibe from early last decade. Like
Westbrook and Durant just got hurt in the middle of the series and it was over and they just kept going.
Yeah.
Like the second he got hurt, I was like, this is kind of academic. We know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
I will say this though. In the way they remind me of the Thunder is like they're like this year is like their 2011 Thunder team. Like they got to second round. They got bounced by the veteran team with the veteran superstar that knows what to do or whatever else. Like comparing Dirk to Steph or whatever else. But like next year, they can very well win the West.
Yeah, I like Ja Morant a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm here for Steph and Clay and the rest of the unit to go ahead and finish the job. It's gonna be like they got a bear to deal with in Luka, and this could fully be Luka packing them up. I don't know which way that's going to go, but I tend to lean towards the Warriors just because they feel like the Spurs at this point. And it's, like Steph's that nigga. Like I need to see Steph win again, and because I need to come on this show and give it to Kevin Durant again and beat him again for they won before you, they won with you, they will win after you. Like, like what are we doing here? Also Steph Curry ties with four rings right there. So I'm rolling with Steph.
Ties with who? Oh, LeBron? Oh, I mean,
indeed.
I mean, we saw them play 4 finals and he outplayed me all floor. Like, it's neat. So I think the thing for me with the Warriors kind of like, or really this whole field, I don't have any real good idea of who is going to win this title. And to be quite frank with you, I look at like some of these like 3rd and 4th best players on these teams. I'm just like, yo, there are teams that didn't make the finals that are packing. There are lots of teams from like the last 5-6 years that didn't make the finals that would absolutely walk through this competition in 6 or less. Like I'm sorry, but if I had to pick a team, if I had to pick a finals, I'd probably have to go Warriors Celtics, right? I'm sorry, like who's the 3rd best player on the Celtics? Is it Marcus Smart or is it Al Horford?
I guess you got to go with Marcus Smart because he was the defensive player of the year.
Okay, so if Marcus Smart is 3rd best player on your NBA Finals team, right? Like, how, like, aside from some of these, like, aside from some of them, like, them like, no Kyrie Cavs teams that made the finals, like, how many teams have, like, yo, what is this? Like, it's really weird. I mean, like, the worst thing is, like, Steph's not even, like, at the level Steph is in a different point of his career now. He's not some 45% 3-point shooter. Regardless of the volume, he's now, somehow, like, I don't know what happened, but, like, he's back, he's come relatively back down to earth. He's still the best shooter in the world, but, like, it's not like he's the, you know, this is the hand of God shooting these threes anymore. And then you think about it, it's like, it's really impressive that, like, bro, they had their own pick. Obviously, this is supposed to be like the Tim Duncan thing or whatever, but like they had their own pick. Got was it the third pick or the second pick in that draft?
They had the second pick.
They had the second pick in that draft, right? That's supposed to be their Tim Duncan. They were going to get their Tim Duncan to be the person to help carry this thing forward for the next 15 years. And they fucking whiffed it, and they still made another fucking Western Conference Finals.
Bro, light years ahead. Joe Lacob trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Trying to tell us.
So that's interesting, and they're also doing this while like Draymond is aging exactly how we all thought he would, miserably.
Hey man, I just
this man. I'm not gonna talk about the flagrant. I don't care, whatever else. But the thing I want to talk about is this man did the Ben Simmons thing that we talked about that where we fucking killed him for like a half hour last year when the Sixers got eliminated. He did the same fucking thing. And then, immediately after the game, did a podcast to explain how it wasn't a Ben Simmons thing, but they still won the series, so it didn't fucking matter. It never came up. It didn't matter. It's like, this man it's like, you ever seen the gif people keep using for LeBron when he keeps staying longer and longer from Breaking Bad, where like Jesse's like, he can't keep getting away with this. Yes, I'm in my wit's end where it's like, I don't like Draymond. I appreciate his game, all the other antics with the dick kicking and like the crazy out of line, out of pocket shit talking he does and the loudness. I'm just like, yo, bro, that's so off putting for me. But like, I'm just like, how does he keep riding? How does he keep escaping and riding off with Steph saving this man? I'm sick of Steph saving this man. Go to hell. I'm sick of this man. Like,
I can't wait to this man be out here like this, like Ric Flair. Nigga gonna be holding up the floor on you niggas.
So, like, for me, like, thinking about it, right? Thinking about, like, this league since...
Well, I can explain that. Like as far as, like, the weakness stuff, like, and it goes back to what we were talking about, like, a couple weeks ago. It may have been off air. It was like, bro, it's COVID. Like, it's these seasons that were all packed in, like, these 3 years that were all packed into one, and they hit different teams kind of at different times. So it was like kind of like a revolving door. It was like, all right, you made a deep run in the bubble. You may have to like suffer for a season like the Heat last year, but you have enough time to recover. The Bucks, you kind of went out early, but last year you guys were all healthy together, just like the Suns. Like when they kind of pulled it together in the bubble, they were able to get it going, and then they break down. Like there's like a whole kind of like, they're like, what's that damn thing? It's a Rubik's Cube that's going on right now with the league.
Yeah.
And these teams just kind of ended up there.
There's definitely something, because like this will like we basically played 3 seasons in one. Like we'll finally
like the Warriors were not a factor in the bubble, and then last year they missed the plan, get all that rest, and they're back.
Yeah. That wasn't what I was going to ask, but I was going to ask like or I was going to say, like, you look at the landscape of the league, and, like, since, you got the Showtime show on HBO, which I'll get to eventually. And
fuck Boston.
It's about... and it's so much about, like, the personalities on the 2 marquee franchises on each coast. We get Larry Bird and Magic Johnson there, and they raise the league up, and then Michael Jordan takes the baton and takes it even further, right? Like he's almost like he takes the anchor. He takes the anchor from Magic Johnson. He fucking goes down the fucking ending of the race like he's freaking Usain Bolt. But like the league's been built on stars on top, and you think of it now, or I'm thinking of it now, and just like, yo, so you mean to tell me I'm not making any. I don't care. Like, I think there's a thing that's people care about that are, and it makes me like question why they care about this. But like, you look at what the face of the league or the old guard of the league is, where it's LeBron, it's Steph, it's Durant, and to a lesser extent, Chris Paul is like the old guard of like, you know, over 10 years in the league, multiple, you know, face of the league presidents, champions, blah blah blah. That's why I said yes. And then you throw out like, yeah, that's why I said to a lesser extent before I even got to that point. I cut you off before the pass, right? As old guard, and then the league is going to be theirs, or it already is theirs, when you have like Giannis and Luka and Embiid and Jokic, and it's like, those are the best four guys under 30. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, they're all.
Embiid? Do you say Embiid? Yeah.
Yeah, Embiid. Yeah, Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. And they're all foreigners, right? And like, I don't care about that shit, but I'm thinking about it as like, okay, so top 3 in MVP this year were Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, all gone. There's no LeBron. There's no Durant. Now there's no Chris Paul and / Devin Booker. And it's like,
somebody about to steal one this year.
Steph, you know, people are talking about like, you know, they think Tatum has risen to being an MVP caliber player. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But like, first, like a all NBA guy, absolutely. But I'm just not there yet. But the thing is, like, for me, is like, all right, well, you look at like the history of the league, like, if Steph or Luka does not win this title, we're gonna be looking like, what the fuck is this? the worst case scenario is Miami winning this title, which I think quite frankly that's not going to happen.
2004 Pistons ass.
But that's like wait a second, the best player on this team is Jimmy Butler. The second best player is Bam, who's, you know, because of the dearth of what we've done to the league, like he's like the third best center in the NBA. It's kind of like, but not really, because Giannis is kind of a center, but whatever. And it's like, wait. So like, there is no old guard guy that, or kind of, I'm saying like Steph kind of sort of has to win. Like if you look at the narrative of the league, like the two things that make the most sense would be like Steph or Luka winning.
Hey,
I don't think Luka's going to win, because I don't think that team's any fucking good.
Dylan bring up a good point. It shows how balanced the league is now. We're coming out of the super team era, and we're going through a lot of different organizations building, you know, their stuff up, and we don't have to worry about like, you know, multiple all-star players as of this moment right now, all linking up on one side and beating the hell out of a paltry, weak conference. Like, that doesn't exist anymore. Like, there's a lot of star players in the league, and they're not playing together right now. And it's like, I much rather, like, I kind of like it like this, where I don't have to worry about Giannis and joining the Celtics next year, and then it's just being like, fold that shit up. Like, so this kind of leads to a more unpredictable nature, and this is one of the outcomes like of this thing, especially if, you know, a Chris Middleton gets hurt or something. What's up?
But did you feel good about it though? Because I don't. Like the third best player on a finals team was on a finals champion was Marcus Smart. I don't know, I don't like that shit, bro. That shit sounds terrible. That shit feels gross. Like, really? A dude that you can't trust?
Hey, I mean, you know, third best player on the Lakers back in the day was like Glenn Rice, you know, so. Yeah,
but the second best player was Kobe Bryant. Like, it's different. It's totally different. Like, I get what you're saying as far as roster construction, but it's like, you know, like, we got more good players than we've ever had before. And like, you mean to tell me that like we can't cobble together like somebody to be able, oh, well, honestly, the real answer is Chris Paul, like, take steroids, like, or something, but like, because if the Suns had won had won or whatever else the finals, you're like, okay, like, you think of like the narrative, like, this is kind of like that 2014 Suns team, like, get to the finals, lose to a team or whatever else because of unfortunate luck, and then you come back and you win, and like they play selflessly, and like they're really fun to watch, and like they don't have any bad possessions, and like they're just really crispy, just really silky smooth offense, and all that kind of stuff. Like, and like, and also I was looking at this thing like, well, the league is wide open right now, and now like the favorite goes down, it's like league's even more wide open, and now it's so open where it's like, yo, this champion is gonna be really fucking weak. Like the 2016 Thunder, would they have to go to 6 games with any of these teams?
I think the Heat might give them some trouble just because they're good defensively.
But that Thunder's team was like everything that Miami does, they couldn't do because like they're just so much. They'd be so much bigger than them. There's nothing that the Heat do offensively that scares you to like take Steven Adams off the floor. Like, and they're big everywhere with like Ibaka and Durant and Steven Adams and Westbrook and Cephalosha, whereas like all that length is it just guard like, and then you have Kevin fucking Durant in his prime. It is like, I'm sorry, Jimmy Butler. No, you just can't compete with that. Like, I just think like I feel like they'll wipe the floor with that team. And like they lost, they blew a 3-1 lead, and then to a team that blew a 3-1 lead in 2016. Like we have regressed. We are losing the recipes, Rich. That's kind of what I feel like. We're losing the recipes. How the fuck do we have more good players than before, but now we have worse teams?
It's because the players are spread out. You know, like, and Dylan in the comments, it's like how WWE transitioned from Rock and Austin to Cena and Batista. The in between was fun, but in 2 or 3 years is going to be crazy. So when all these guys start, you know, coming up, and you know, some of the people start coming down, like as far as like, you know, like you guys are aging out, like it's gonna, like 3 years from now, I think the league will be pretty interesting. Especially, you know, then you got to factor in, you know, Ant Edwards and LaMelo Ball and all the people that are coming, the Cavs.
The best thing for the league. Quite honestly, or not the best thing, but like as far as not necessarily for like the location of the team, but like as far as a new team coming up, like that Memphis Grizzlies team needs to like really be on that 2013 or 2011 or 2010 to 11 to 12 trajectory that the Thunder were on, where it's like, you know, bubble team, whatever else, or you know, play-in team, whatever else, don't make it 1 year or bounce in the first round. And then, like, get to the second round, lose to potentially the finalist or the eventual champion, whatever, that's fine. But, like, next year, like, is the year where, like, you're looking around and you're like, well, why can't they win the West next year?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what their goal should honestly be win the West next year and then go from there. Like, we'll see, you know, their ownership is talking about, like, they'll pay that money. We'll see when it comes down to do it. People say a lot of shit, but, like, that it should be, like, for those that, you know, maybe don't watch the NBA or don't have a team or whatever else or team to watch, like, that would be the team I would watch, because John Moran's just a fucking highlight reel, but, like, that whole team just, like, they even play you tough when he's out, and he's sensational. So, yeah, I think that they could be really fucking good, like, next year. And then we'll see what goes from, outside of them, we'll see what happens in the next 5 years, but, like, they're my safest bet for the next 5 years.
Shit, better hope Jokic and Luka don't hook up. Shit, this should fold this shit up.
Wait, so, is Luka Czech or is he from Latvia? Can't remember.
He is Slovenian. Look,
I don't think they're going to link up. I get what you're saying, but I don't think they're going to link up. I don't think
so.
I remember they were talking about trying to get Giannis to try to come to Dallas, and then he won the title, and was like, that never happened. Yeah. That's never happening.
Yeah. But... speaking of, like, I think we got to get to wrestling now.
Right.
But yeah, that's some NBA talk for you guys. But
gave me an hour.
Yeah. Speaking of people, you know, possibly trying to leave and link up, and I think is the biggest kind of thing going on in wrestling right now. MJF is he's having some issues with Tony Khan and AEW regarding his contract, and I remember when MJF originally signed, he signed a 5-year deal to basically, you know, commit to AEW till 2024. Everybody's heard about it. I've kind of neglected talking about it thus far, because it always seemed like, you know, this work that he was running, like, as part of his story, just to like keep a little heat on himself, like really playing with, you know, AEW hardcore is like, I'll fucking leave, I'll go to WWE, and it'd be like the best kind of heat that, you know, he can get. But this all kind of sounds real now, so from all this stuff. And then James and I were talking about it over the weekend, and we, you know, familiar with, you know, players and, you know, other sports, seeing what's going on. I kind of see it from both sides, in you know, a case, because it's like, all right, if you're Tony Khan, like, immediately I was like, well, he's going to want to give him more years if, you know, MJF is wanting to, you know, get more money or whatever. And, you know, apparently there's a big point of contention, like, you know, people walking in off the street, essentially MJF is stuck on this old deal. He feels he's outperformed that contract, according to, you know, the sources and all that stuff. And I would totally agree, like, especially, you know, everything we talk glowingly about MJF on this show all the time.
Yep.
So
always in some hot.
Yeah, always in some hot, always on there every week. Doesn't wrestle as many matches or anything, but he's, you know, I don't know who's advising him to tell him to upset the apple cart this way. But I mean, if he feels like he's got to do this, like, I can't begrudge him for doing it. I would have, like, if it was me and I was a pro wrestler at MJF's level, I would be looking into superstar agents like Barry Bloom and like, yo, we need to figure this out. And, you know, you got to look at it, I think, from, you know, like, I don't know too many teams that rip contracts up and basically just give raises with no, like, I don't know what they benefit from aside. Like, he's trying to buy, like, I think the benefit would be buying MJF's happiness. That's why you do this now, right? But I don't know, man. It's a long time from now. It's 2 years from now. You know, maybe TK is like, you know, I'm not starved. Like, I'm not desperate. You know, I'm not like in fear of losing someone like MJF to WWE or something like that, because WWE would never know what to do with an MJF. And then also, and also, you know, TK has shown that he can turn around and create stars. If you've got 2 years with MJF and MJF is going to show up and still be a pro and, you know, honor his dates, and he's not trying to, you know, ask for his release or anything, if he's going to show up and do the whole thing, like, that means you have 2 years with this guy. You can still do a whole lot where it's like, all right, you can figure out how to get max value out of him now, and then let someone else pay for that. Like at the end, you know, if you know, he wants to go get some crazy contract at the end, have him put a couple people over on the way out. You see, he's about to put Wardlow over, it feels like. But I wouldn't, you know, begrudge MJF for making this stuff public, and it is kind of a different thing here, is you don't hear people really upset with their pay too often, but this is a side effect of, you know, a lot of people coming into AEW. Like, I think MJF has to, like, kind of, like, if he's talking about Punk or Danielson getting paid like that, he's got to hold that. Like, those guys are going to get paid. But anybody else, right? Like, if, for example, if Keith Lee's walking in, right, and he's like,
different name, but okay.
Like if Keith Lee's walking in, for example, or Adam Cole,
that's what I thought you were saying.
For example,
everybody's been on Adam Cole's ass for some strange reason.
Right. So I'll throw those two guys. If those two guys walk in from NXT, right, and they're NXT champions and stuff like that. Keith Lee was on the main roster for a little bit, and you're MJF. It's like, why should I be behind these guys still? And I don't know if MJF just can't read contracts and, like, you know, as far as the dates or anything, but can't hurt to ask, I guess. Like, but I feel him. Like, if he's like, yo, I shouldn't be paid less than Adam Cole. Like, we beat the shit out of them. Like, and, you know, I'm a big reason why. So, I don't know. What do you think is going on with all this?
Well, I mean, I think if I remember roughly what I was saying to you at the time, I was like, this seems like it seems like this is like some impasse in an NFL contract, and, like, you know, you talked about, like, teams, why would they rip up a contract? It's like, well, you do it if it's a quarterback. And, like, MJF is basically trying to say, I'm a quarterback. And, you know, maybe he is. Right, but this is way more nebulous and then that.
Because it comes like, what would stop anybody else from walking in? Well, I want to rip my deal up too. And I think maybe the wrestlers are hurting themselves by being on the company's side, and they don't realize it. It was like, hold on, they're like, that's not fair. Like, well, think about it, buddy. You might be able to do that same thing too. Yeah. And I think TK. It's harder, as you mentioned, because like we have things like incentives in NBA contracts, like, hey, if you were all NBA third team person, you're eligible for this or whatever at a certain point. In wrestling, we don't have that same kind of thing because it comes down to who's actually getting the opportunity to shoot at the rim, like and stuff like that. And it's like, if a Dark Order member walks in and be like, yo, I want the same raise or whatever, and it's like, the answer for the Dark Order member isn't
Dark Order guys is doing anything like that right now. What happened with Grayson? They probably like, hey,
no,
stay low, stay low,
stay
low, real
head
low
down, But like their answer isn't the same as MJF's answer, and I think maybe it's a case where CK doesn't want to create something like that because then it comes down to then you're putting yourself in a position where you have to lie to people like about the opportunity they're going to get, like in a way where it's like, you're really fucking with my money. Like, and I don't think he wants to put himself in that position. Yeah. But I don't know, man.
I think for the thing for me, what I was like talking about how it was before was like, or last week or whenever we talked about it, was just like, this is a NFL contract dispute. He thinks he's a quarterback. I'm sure Tony Khan or whoever else is trying to impress upon him that he's not. Who knows who's right, who's wrong. But what I will say is this: like, MJF is absolutely somebody that's on their rookie contract. Like, they signed that contract for a certain slot. He's outperformed that contract. He wants more money because he's outperformed that contract. And like the next set of negotiations is going to be about trying to not only make back what he's worth, but also like also trying to recoup what he's lost on this last contract. And like his idea is, well, let's just try to, just rip up this contract, put it for the same terms and just add more money to it. And like, I get why he wants to do that, but why the fuck would Tony Khan want to do that? And that's where it all comes to play, is like, he, obviously
because there's no guarantee that at the end of that contract, like that raise, like he'll stay,
Exactly.
So
I pay you $100,000 more each year, and then you still bust off and leave. I'd be furious. And like, and you can't say, well, MJF wouldn't do that, because like MJF would be stupid not to reach free agency in 2024. That's when he's up, right? 2024.
Yeah.
It would be irresponsible for him, for the entire industry, for him not to reach free agency. Not just for him, the entire industry. So yeah, like, so for me, it's like, if he doesn't want to give up those years, like, you got to give up. You can't get both. You can't get your cake and eat it too, and that's the impasse. It is what it is. And that just, to me, just means like Tony Khan doesn't see him as a quarterback, at least not yet.
Yeah, and that's kind of like unfortunate, you would think, because the pillars, that shit's real. People like believe in those guys being the next guys, like, as far as like, they're gonna lead this company in the future. And
I gotta say, at this point, there is no reason to believe any of them actually will, except for MJF.
Yeah, and it's like, the company is changing like so fast overnight, right? And like the stability of like what it felt like as far as people's contracts. You mentioned Stu Grayson; he wasn't brought back. Talented wrestler. They couldn't come to a number or whatever, and Godspeed to him. He didn't end up getting a lot of opportunity towards the end, like. And that's almost inexplicable. If I had to watch Bobby Fish singles matches over and over and over, I couldn't see one Stu Grayson match anywhere. I'm like, okay, all right. But like, this is going to keep happening. Like, and I would advise people, be happy, enjoy the stuff that you can for when you do it, because stuff is never going to stay the same. Like, they are, like, think about all the people that they're paying, right? That I'm sure didn't come in cheap. Christian, just kind of hanging out, like not doing, a ton of stuff. But like, if you're MJF and you think about Christian, it's like, well, what the fuck? Like,
Rich, they have John Moxley and Bryan Danielson, like, just hanging out in the trios right now.
Right.
If you had told me that 7 months ago, no, that's not going that far, 6 months ago, that that Bryan Danielson would be just in a trio, just making appearances
here.
As opposed to being like at the forefront of the like wrestler of the year / most outstanding wrestler debate. I'd have been like, look at what he's done when he came hit the ground running. That's going to continue another year. There's no Kenny Omega. Who else are you going to put the task this with? And like, he's now basically like being the shoot accountability buddy for John Moxley right now. You're right. So it's like, there are things that are more important than like trying to win wrestling MVP or whatever else. But it's like, I saw something different in the first half of the year when he showed up in AEW, and now it's totally different.
Yeah. So
and he's making a shit ton of money to be out here, not a main guy right now.
Yeah, this is part of my apprehension with that, with the whole like their team and stuff like that. I was like, I do not want to see these guys hanging out doing this thing like, and I think people are just kind of so in love with that idea. And I'm like, well, they, instead of like 2 pay-per-view slots, it's 1 that they're taking up, right? If they're teaming up and stuff like that, which, I
don't hate it. It's been well done. It's just, but it's like, that's not what I envisioned. And that's not necessarily mean like you can't come up with something better than I envisioned. That shit happens all the time in AEW. But, for me, it was kind of like, okay. And then Moxley, no. Okay, both tag team. Okay. Oh, they're not even a tag team, they're trios. Okay, when are we going to tag? Oh, until Kenny Omega is healthy. Oh, so it might not be even like until August or some shit, maybe. Okay, so like we basically have like guys making $1 million a year, like on ice, kind of. Okay. Or sitting, okay. Where are the Young Bucks? Oh, they're wrestling Mexico. Not here. Not here, guys? No. Okay. All right. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know what the fuck's going on of late. Like, where are the top stars? What are they doing?
Yeah. Like, and, you would think, like, MJF doing this at this time would be like, yo, I'll fucking walk. Like, you see, like, on a side note, I think WWE is doing an excellent job with Cody, as far as like his presentation, what they're requiring out of him, just kind of building around him, making him feel important and stuff like that. And I think
you only got to take care of one. You only got one more person over as opposed to like 50.
Yeah,
or not 50. But my point, like numerous numbers of people coming in waves all the goddamn time. Like you can't push everybody all at once. And, like, that's the reason why, a lot of these guys are on TV right now or in, like, utility roles, whatever else. But, like, the idea of somebody that's not Vince McMahon paying somebody $1 million to be a utility guy is, like, wow. And, like, it's been around for a while because, like, Chris Jericho's been in a utility role for a minute, for a couple years now. But, like, he's in different stages of his career, so it makes sense. But, like, Danielson and Moxley... Nah.
Look, all I know is like the money better be ready for Kenny when it's time to re-up. So don't come flagging. So besides that, I guess like, we can.
Target has Laundry Day covered because they offer a great selection of concentrated Tide Pods to help with all your laundry needs. Tide Pods clean, freshen, and help rejuvenate your clothes with odor fighters and stain removers. Did you know Tide Pods clean better than the leading liquid bargain detergent? Tide Pods are powerful enough to make your whites white and your brights bright, even in cold water. Just toss in 1 Tide Pod for small loads, 2 for medium, 3 for large. It's that easy. For great value and convenient pickup options, get Tide Pods today at Target. Introducing Under Armour's Infinity High Sports Bra. Its ergonomic design is molded to support the natural movement of your body. With cord-out padding, the better breathability eliminates extra bulk without sacrificing support. And quick-dry padding is Under Armour's fastest-drying padding yet. When you're lifting heavy, running fast, and pushing yourself further than ever before, you need a bra that will help you go that extra mile and make you feel your best. Shop the Infinity High Sports Bra now at UA.com.
There has been actually some crazy shit that came out of WWE during this show. Apparently, Sasha Banks and Naomi originally were set for like a 6-pack challenge in the main event. The winner was to determine who gets a title shot at Bianca Belair. Sasha Banks walked out of the taping mid-show after creative differences with Vince McMahon.
Wait, what?
Yes, Sasha Banks walked out. She wanted changes made to the match. He wouldn't budge, so she left, and Naomi left the building with Sasha. WWE released a statement as well as Fightful Select. So I'm going to read the Fightful Select one. So we're told that Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of the show. From those we've heard, WWE Tag Team Champion Sasha Banks wasn't satisfied with the creative associated with her plans this evening. As Fightful Select reported, Sasha was to be involved in the 6-pack challenge with Naomi, Asuka, Doudrop, and Nikki ASH. During the broadcast, it then announced that it was being changed to Asuka versus Becky Lynch and that Sasha Banks and Naomi have left the building. We're told that Sasha had a meeting with Vince McMahon and voiced her displeasure and wouldn't budge on her stance. Vince McMahon was also said to be willing to unbudge. We haven't specifically heard that Naomi was involved, but that she and Sasha Banks left near the start of the show. It's worth noting that at the time that the Raw rundowns went out, there was no assigned producer or referee for the main event match. It was also highlighted in red, indicating a change could be happening. We're told that there were hastily produced segments to set up the change, but they were also reflected in the rundowns that they handed before the show. By the time it was announced on WWE TV, word had made its way outside of the company. WWE then released a statement through Sean Ross Sapp. Said when Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions. Even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they'd had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised tonight's main event.
So, like, Tony Khan this weekend or so said, like, how the fuck are these people, like, so disorganized that they, like, are ripping up scripts and rewriting shit, like, on a Monday and talked about, like, how do you not have this shit in and done and then it's up to your satisfaction and then like you're done with it, right? And then people said like, you talk too much about WWE and like obviously this is like him doing his thing in a time where it's like both of these people are like, having these having these war of the words of as they're like both heading towards new TV deals, right? And then, like, obviously he got backlash for saying that sort of thing, even though, like, everybody talks about how disorganized WWE is, even their fans. And then, lo and behold, like, the same fucking weekend, Sasha Banks says, this is a shit show, I'm out of here. Yo, what is it with Sasha Banks and these women's tag team titles that make this shit such a fucking curse? Funny shit. If it's the titles or it's Sasha Banks, throw them fucking, get The Rock to come back, go to the bridge and throw them shits over the bridge again. I'm so sick and tired of these fucking tag titles causing Sasha Banks to not show up to work. In the words of Stephen A. Smith. These belts are make Sasha lose her fucking mind. I'm sick of this. Get rid of it.
Kyrie Irving and Sasha Banks, more things in common than you may think. Yeah, man. This is crazy. Hearing about this. I wondered why they were in the match to begin with. Apparently, Sasha Banks did too.
I had no idea any of this stuff was happening. I had no idea.
Yeah,
a 6-pack challenge to determine who's going to be the number one contender for Bianca's title, right?
Correct.
And it was going to be Asuka, Doudrop, Becky, Naomi, Sasha, and don't say Liv Morgan.
Nikki.
Okay.
You come on, Liv Morgan don't get to win.
I mean, she's going to be,
but she do get to lose.
Right.
But this doesn't shock me. We know Sasha Banks wanted to leave for AEW back in 2019. Like people.
Leave, yes. Leave for AEW.
Yes.
I didn't.
Where was she going? She wanted to be like John Moxley.
I thought she was going to retire. I had no idea what the fuck she was doing. I have no idea. Look, given at the time in 2019, she wanted to wrestle on Sendai Girls. Look, she wanted to be the top gaijin in the game.
Look, this company, James, when they won them shits, right? And I was like, oh, this means nothing. I was like, this is the latest thing. They have no problem disrespecting Sasha Banks.
You better stop this shit.
They have no problem.
Tanya gonna cuss you out. You better stop this shit now.
They have no problem disrespecting Sasha Banks. I'm glad that Sasha was like, fuck you niggas, I'm out of here. Just like Kanye back in the day. But this is I don't blame Sasha at all. I don't blame Naomi at all. If they don't feel like they're respected, who are we to tell their experience? Because I can't see no respect.
Yeah,
like one of them wasn't going to win this match. Thus, why are you beating these champions? What have these champions done since winning these titles? They weren't on pay-per-view last week. I don't know, man. The pro wrestling world in chaos at all times, even during One Nation Radio.
Rich, can you go look at the OBS and see about like the zoom in? It looks like we're like very small.
We are very small. I'm not showing anything that is messed up.
All right, if it looks good to you, then like maybe just on my end looking at it, but just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Figured I'd say something.
Maybe refresh on that joint. But yeah, man, that is quite crazy. So there's no way in fuck that they'd give her release or anything. So I saw some people clowning and said she'll be thanking Vince McMahon on Twitter tomorrow.
I was thinking of a thank you joke, but I was like, I guess the thank yous wore off. But I couldn't come up with it. I just left it alone. But yeah.
So like I said, this doesn't shock me. She's been disrespected in the past. I'm glad she stands up for herself. She could be on her way out anyway, kind of. We don't know, how her Hollywood career is shaping up to look, but all this woman seems to want to do is bring honor and prestige to these titles, and this company don't agree.
You know what this is, right?
What?
Her and Bailey, they loved hanging out with FTR.
Oh my god!
This ain't nothing but their goddamn doing. the goddamn revival out here fucking shit up. They ain't even in the company in years. They fucking shit up. Backstage. Look, I would love to see Sasha's phone and see the message where it's like, you shouldn't. Type. You shouldn't put up with none of this. This is why we left. You should go have a conversation with Vince. Look at all the money you've drawn for Vince, and you should go in there and say.
Hold on, did you start Dax's accent halfway through the sentence?
Yes, mid-sentence I was like this. Let's add to the storytelling. Add the elements in. Had to fully engross you in the world that I'm trying to illustrate.
Yes.
So yes, yeah, man. It's funny because when she left after WrestleMania 35, we were doing the show, and I remember this because it was fucking embarrassing going through like the 2019 best of all the shows, the clip up a best of 2019 thing, And like one of the shows, like I have Raw on, and like literally in the middle of the show, because Sasha had been gone since WrestleMania 35. Sasha comes on screen and I yell, "Oh, Sasha!" And then we stopped the show so I could figure out what the fuck was going on. Like she's she's that kind of a big deal for WWE in this modern sense, and it's like
the one true draw in the company.
Keep having these fucking disputes. What is there to talk about? What are we doing?
Like, honestly, they should be bending over backwards for Sasha Banks, seeing as how she's the only one that's ever drawn ratings on SmackDown, ever, since they've gone to Fox.
Out of the women's side, yeah. Well, like I think Ronda may have done well at first anyway. But yeah.
Sasha's Sasha's done all this with an eighth of the protection that Ronda Rousey has. So like, if they actually decided to do that and take advantage of like her army of loyal fans that will show up for her in any capacity, like we saw, like I don't know if they're still holding something against her, maybe from the SummerSlam stuff last year.
What happened at SummerSlam last year?
Well,
the COVID thing. Oh yeah.
She was not able to make the card. Let's just say that.
About that.
But I don't know, man. It's not the first person that's upset somewhere. MJF's upset right now. Won't be the last.
Nope.
We'll be here because like this shit never stops. And I don't know why WWE doesn't realize what they have in her and change whatever to make her happy there, especially when it comes down to something as trivial as a match finish or a match. It's not like she's asking them to rip up her contract and give her more money or something.
Yeah. So a six-pack challenge is an elimination. It's first fall, right?
Correct.
All right. One of them was probably going to get pinned.
Right.
And it was probably Naomi that was going to get pinned. And she was like, absolutely the fuck not. She's a champion. Well, who are we going to pin? I don't know. Pick Doudrop. She's
like pin Nikki Ash or some shit.
Oh, we're trying to give her a push. Bullshit. You're not trying to give her no fucking push.
Man. Yeah. Dave just said, WWE sent out a press release and said that Sasha and Naomi give them the belts, and all the sites have it now. All over the timeline.
Welp.
WWE out here talking to dirt sheets. They already know that.
They know that shit. You know what that means.
They're trying to poison the well. They know people don't like Sasha and Naomi anyway.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's the only part of it. I was going to say, like, they're trying to get ahead of the story, which means, like, this shit had to be bad on their end, and they're trying to cover their ass. I
just hope that they have proper channels that they can reach out to get their story out. Like, well,
have her and her fans like squashed the beef with Sean Ross Sapp? Or are they still mad about
they're not really too fond of any of the reporters from what I gather.
That is true. They are not fond of media, and
so like very distrustful.
And when people are distrustful of the media, you kind of worry about them. Just in general.
Yes. So hopefully, we hear something either tonight, tomorrow while we're still recording or something, but I will keep it locked in to figure it out. But man, I don't even know like where else we should go. But AEW last week.
Buddy, like you're on to review shows. Why?
Oh no! I don't need to review the whole show or anything, but it was a really good show last week. There were some people that were talking like it was this all-time Dynamite. I didn't get that same feeling, but I thought just everything was really solid. No whack segments or anything like that.
Okay. But I really enjoyed the opener. That's as far as I got was the opener. Adam Cole and Dax. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't give it 4 stars. I'd probably give it like somewhere between 3.5 to 3 3/4, depending on like. Actually, you know what? I'll give it the extra quarter star because it popped me when this Shawn Michaels disciple made a Bret Hart disciple tap out to the sharpshooter. That was fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious.
The first thing I thought was, I bet this Mark Dax pitched that shit to lose or whatever to the sharpshooter to make the sharpshooter look strong.
Probably.
Also, Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin, amazing.
I didn't see it yet.
Oh, You didn't see it? Oh, okay.
I know. Jeff Hardy won, right?
Yes, Jeff Hardy won. I didn't feel I was kind of like, damn, why Darby had to lose. But that match, they took some incredible risks, like complete spot fist. Like Darby pretty much said it to begin during the show. It was like, man, don't nobody want to see us trade no headlocks. Like they know what's up. So this is no rules. Like, so this shit was on. Lots of high falls. Darby doing insane shit. Jeff doing insane shit. It was really fun, really good. So the Owen tournament rolling on. Dynamite next week looks fucking great. We've got Hangman Page and Takeshita fighting next week.
Oh wow,
that's gonna be awesome.
Kyle that's right.
O'Reilly.
It was announced on like online, right?
Oh no, they announced it last week on the show.
Okay.
Kyle O'Reilly was taking on Ray Phoenix, Samoa Joe versus Joker. Britt Baker versus her Joker.
Both Jokers on the same Dynamite?
Well, it's being called Wild Card Dynamite, so we're gonna see both Jokers coming. Okay. So,
you have any guesses for either one of them?
I'm really kind of in the dark on this. Like, as far as the women's side, it could be like Athena. Mm-hmm. It could be a Joshi that's in the country. And I feel like we should probably talk about that next.
Okay. All right.
But what's stopping Miyu Yamashita from showing up, and kicking the doctor's head off,
I think the thing with her is I gotta see her in America. Well, in America, like on a bigger stage, and like obviously like the one of my eight that asked for, like I have concerns about whether or not she would get over in America compared to like Maki Ito or Yuka. Like the second they showed up, they got booked. I was like, they're gonna get over. I think I told you that. Like, oh yeah, they're getting over. I mean, they're getting over. But
I really think there is like a market for Yamashita, especially like she's not on no goofy shit. Like she wants to come in and whoop some ass. Like if they just like let her whoop some ass.
Seeing Rich, they don't let people hit each other as hard as they do over in Japan as they do here. Like, and that's the thing when like I think that's the thing when like a lot of people, when we talk about a lot of these wrestlers, like when we talk about like, oh yeah, and then like they get in the ring and then like they basically work like an Americanized softer style, and like people are like, what is this person y'all talked about? Like really? And it's like, well, then the second they go back to Japan, like they go right back to the murders. Like, I mean, Kyrie was great in WWE and NXT, but it's like she showed back up the fucking Stardom and like she's doing shoot headbutts again. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's totally different. She's out here cocking back and knocking Tam's jaw loose. Like it's just a different thing. Like, I mean, I remember you mentioning when the Hikari Noah and Sheeta match, where it's like you just wished it. Like, I think you said something along the lines like, I wish Sheeta hit people like that here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a thing where it's like, I came to America to get away from having to do that, but I know once I go back, I gotta go back to that standard. I don't know. But like even watching like the Yuka and Riho match from Dynamite, I think it was Dynamite or Rampage 2 weeks ago. I can't remember what it was, but like that match is good. It's like 3.25. But it's like if they had that match Tokyo Joshi Pro and they were given their time to, somewhere in the last 3 matches or whatever, I was like they go out there and they have some high 3 match at worst. And like I don't know what it is or what the mandate is or what they're being told or what they think like, or if they're just they're working for the audience and what they think the audience wants, opposed to I don't know. I have no idea, but like it's just something totally different. Like, cause I mean, my first thought when I first saw Asuka wrestling match with Meiko Satomura, I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I thought she hit hard here. No. No. So I don't know what it is. I don't.
So we're starting to see various Joshi pop up around America, starting to get booked in independent promotions. I believe before we get to that. Yeah. Takeshita, he's gonna get over. Oh yeah.
He's gonna get over.
Yeah.
Like that Lethal match, it was like interesting. Is like, Lethal is always out there. He out here wrestling, for forgiveness at all times, and he's in there with Takeshita. And like by the time they came back from that commercial break, they were like, okay, instead of just the let's go Lethal. Lethal sucks thing. It was like, all right, Takeshita too. All right, like, and that's just gonna work. He gets in here with Adam Page, and obviously we saw him beat or lose to Lethal, so he's gonna lose to Page, but he gonna give that man a run, and like he gonna get himself over.
Yeah, I'm about as excited for this match as I've been excited for anything maybe since FTR and the Bucks too, on Dynamite, and just like excited to see Hangman in there. Takesha's I think like 25, maybe 26, but he's got a wealth of experience. This is like helping build the Punk and Hangman thing up, which I'm loving so far, kind of the angle to taking with it. And this is isn't this what people want with Hangman? Like, don't they want him to kind of be more focused on and doing something to be part of the show? Like, I'm sorry if he's not trying to hit CM Punk with a car or something, or trying to commit murder. But he's gonna probably have like a hell of a match with, like, this is just a hell of a unique match that I'm very excited for. But as far as the Joshi wrestlers popping up on the U.S. Indies, I feel this thing is starting and it's an influx. And this is there was a match announced. It was Miyu Yamashita. And she's showing up to like North Carolina.
Yes, Raleigh, North Carolina, the Triangle.
Yeah, so Chad, go. I didn't catch the name of the young lady she's wrestling.
Oh, Miyuki Takase.
Okay. Yep. So, and obviously
another one of the top freelancers in Joshi. Yeah.
So like, what is this about, James? Like all these Joshis like popping up in independent wrestling, because I feel like some replacement is about to go on right now.
I had the same thoughts. Like you sent it, you didn't say nothing, and like I said the same thoughts. I sent to Kobe Bryant with the young Kobe with the afro with the eyebrows up, like, like, look. There have been, I mean, there's always been in the indie scene, there's always been, from Shimmer, a lot of it was made off of like Asuka Kana coming here and wrestling like Cerro Del Rey, and other people that along the time, like, and then you've always had like Ring of Honor, they always would bring in like an Anai or bring in stardom wrestlers like Mayu or Hazuki or Getsu or Hazuki or whatever else. And like, Lucha Underground, they brought in the Freedom. Like, it's always been this thing of bringing in talent. And like, even I think even like for Shimmer, like Arisa Nakajima showed up. Like, I think she doesn't want to do it anymore. She didn't like her stay. Like, she talked about like she didn't like the food here, whatever else. She liked the fans.
Can't blame her.
The food, right? She didn't like the food. She didn't like her arrangement. Like, I think she had to split a room with somebody. She didn't say who it was, but it's like she didn't want to do it, but she did enjoy the fans. I remember her saying that. But like, there's always been a market for good ass wrestlers coming over here, and like, Stardom's gotten more popular. Tokyo Joshi Pro's gotten more popular. That's been helped a lot with the NXTs and AEWs, especially for the Tokyo Joshi Pro wrestlers as well for the AEW side, to get Yuka and Maki, and they're both, wrestling in Oregon. And then now you see, Miyu, I'm sorry, not Yuka, but, Ito and Miyu. And Miyu, like, I mean, she was a Shimmer champion, or no, Shine champion. I'm sorry. She was a Shine champion in 2019. Like, she lost it back to Allison Kay, and like, obviously she wants to come back. She's doing that now. Like, and while she's here, she's people are going to try and book her. And like, I think you even told me like that somebody got booked on PWG.
Yes, Yuka Sakazaki got booked on PWG against Masha Slamovich. And I was like, man, So I wonder if people are going to be upset with this, because with, the influx of the Joshi wrestlers, some of the Joshi wrestlers have faced vile racism online from certain segments of the people. They've also been subjected to or the fans have been subjected to this weird projection thing. It's some sex thing. It's some, just some weird thing. No one could possibly be interested in better wrestlers at all. So I'm just wondering, will this backlash come when, when insert wrestler name here that's been crying about not being booked in certain places? Are they going to be upset? Are they going to realize women are being booked?
Are they going to be upset that they ain't booked still? Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah. So, and to be fair, at face value, some of the critique, or a lot of the critiques I've seen for independent pro wrestling and not having women talent on there, it's legitimate. But I think we're going to see a lot of some of these places, they come to, when people get booked, it comes to the surface that they really were saying why it's not about necessarily the collective, it's about them. And I don't know how to necessarily dismiss them as saying they're frauds or garbage people, but it is going to be interesting to see how they handle it and how not to, if they're going to tell them themselves or whatever else, and how people deal with now that there will be women in PWG, now what? And then what happens from there going forward? And then what is that going to look like? And all this, and to be quite honest, I mean, we talk about this all the time. I talk about this with you all the time, where it's there's so much fucking talent, so many talented women in Japan, and I watch a shit ton more than you do, and I still feel like there's just more people that I even have time to see, right? And there's 15 promotions in Japan alone. And Stardom is kind of they do stuff and collaborate with the rest of the Joshi world. Tokyo Joshi Pro is just kind of isolated to itself. But everybody else is kind of at this point, it's kind of up for grabs, and people moving around and people making moves and doing these freelance units, and people are trying to, or looking at it as all right, well, someone like Miyuki Takase, she's a top freelancer, she's doing Nomads, and they're trying to, they have a chance to be a viable number 3 now that Ice Ribbon is going to shit, and it's or is going to shit, whatever, but, because they have Maya Yuki and Takase and Rina Yamashita, and they have, Rina Yamashita, all of them are Rina Yamashi's already done a few shots over here already. So it's who do you think got her to connect to get, this booking for DPW? And then Takase was trained by Mizunami. So it's Mizunami's already been over here too. So there's going to be a lot more of this over the coming years, where you're going to see a lot of talented people, and all it takes is showing up on TV a few times to be someone can be booked. And we're going to see how this goes going forward with the American talent. And quite honestly, if enough of them come over here for enough shots and everything else, this could be for the betterment of American women's wrestling too, to where you get some people some matches with people that are super experienced.
Yeah. So that's kind of my thought on it as well.
But the thing is,
don't come out here lacking.
Are they going to see it? But are American women going to see it that way? Or are they going to see it as fuck it, just more competition? We'll see how this goes.
And that goes for fans as well. Because it's are you going to see this as just a change? We know. And I talked about this when Britt Baker won the title from Shida, and just how people were just dying to get it off of Shida for some reason. It's you want that comfortable face that's right in front of that familiar face as or whatever. And I've just seen how people have treated Riho online, and I've just not liked it. And it's really bothered me. all she does is go into
just...
every building and get over and have a great match every time.
Right. There was somebody this week that was trying to tell people that Alexa Bliss was a better wrestler than Rio. I'm like, what, nigga? Are you out of your mind? Like,
put down the crack cocaine.
Based on what? Like, quite honestly, bro, like, I don't think I can. I maybe I'm wrong, but I could probably look it up and go through it over else. I do not think that Alexa Bliss has been in a singles match that was considered great. Quite honestly, I don't think she's been in one that was even really good.
James, I'm going to list the great Alexa Bliss matches that there have ever been. That's the list.
Okay, so I was trying to be more fair, but let's see where you go with this. I think the thing for me is like Riho, like just from 2019 to the pandemic, kind of like she had a track record of just like always having quality matches, at worst quality matches. Sometimes they were like great matches. Sometimes most of the times these matches were just kick ass. And I'm just like, how do you confuse these two things where like the crowd's going banana for her matches? Meanwhile, Alexa Bliss matches are just like, oh, they're cool, whatever. They're not really there to see her wrestle. And it's weird. I don't know, man. I just don't. I don't see how anyone can even objectively try to come to that conclusion. Like, just tell me like you're really into Alexa Bliss, and then like we can just move on. Like,
be honest.
Yeah. And like I understand like what we're doing, what I'm kind of doing to that person is like what we're kind of saying like people are doing to like Joshi fans, but it's like I'm sorry, like
I feel like there's most
of the. Can we agree that like most of the women in professional wrestling are attractive?
I think that as a general rule, that kind of lends itself to.
So if that's the case, like, why would anyone have favorites or like? Do you think these people are like have some like Asian fetish thing? I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, man. It's
and I'm willing to go and say like I'm pretty sure there are some people like that, but not. I can't put a percentage on it. I don't think it'd be the majority. I just think like they do there's a lot of good wrestling that you just don't see and you're unaware of, and like not like, hold it against other people that they think there's other wrestling that's as good or better than what you're watching. Like, don't hold on to think like the wrestling you're watching is the best wrestling. There's so much fucking wrestling. How the fuck can you ever figure out what's the best wrestling? There's great wrestling everywhere.
Here's the answer. You don't figure it out. You don't figure it out. You just, you take all suggestions, but you don't require yourself to, like, I wouldn't immediately dismiss anything without ever engaging with it.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't
know how someone watches Riho and then see what she does and be like, oh, all Joshi wrestlers stink. What's the comparison point? Like, I'm sorry, like, was she not one of the best, like, women's wrestlers in this country when she was around? No? Weird?
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah. Kota Ibushi.
Oh, shit.
Now, I don't know all the details, and I don't think I know anyone that does know all the details on this. I've read reporting from Voice of Wrestling. Shout out to those guys. I've read, I've heard different stuff. Super J-Cast. I believe Keepin It Strong Style will be taking to the air tomorrow night. I've been privy to conversations with them. I'll let those guys, handle that on the air. I don't even want to, but Kota Ibushi went wild the other week on Twitter. Sent out a lot of tweets implicating some people in the office. Excuse me, continuing this trend of people, MJF, Sasha, Kota Ibushi, of like going at people in the company or something like that. And there was just so much stuff in this, down to Yakuza implications. a lot of this stuff is mistranslation. It's hard to kind of figure it out. Then there's Kota Ibushi himself, which, you know, a lot of people see as an aloof kind of individual, and you add in the professional, you know, the professional wrestling aspect of this. Is he working? Is he, you know, and then you start seeing this like, whoa, hold on. Maybe Ibushi is not this infant child that everyone thinks he is. Right. You know, he's bringing up gripes about merchandise and, you know, injuries, and, you know, Kota Ibushi is coming back to, you know, or was set to come back at the New Japan Cup. He was thinking they were rushing him to meet.
No, it goes back even further.
Yeah,
they were
Wrestle Kingdom.
They were trying to get him, not even Wrestle Kingdom. They were trying to get him back for like those this end of the year Korakuen Halls to then set up what was going to happen at Wrestle Kingdom. It was like he just separated his shoulder in October.
Yeah, and there's some dude named Kikuchi. I don't know. It's not the one that you think of with All Japan. Apparently, I found out there's a different one. So, and then there's a different Kikuchi as well. And there's two Kikuchis in New Japan right now. So it's all fucked up.
Slander. Getting the slander.
So, I mean, I don't know what to make of all this. I imagine Kenny Omega's phone was blowing up. What's up with your mans? I don't like, there just has not been enough for me to really say who's in the wrong, who's in the right, if Kota Ibushi's out of his mind or not. Floor is yours, James.
Okay, so I saw the beginning of it, I think, or when the first day it happened, and talked about how, you know, the Kikuchi guy, and I was like, huh. And then people were like, wait, what, you know, because of weird translations, people don't know. People felt like, wait, is he actually the booker? It has been Gato this whole time, and it asked other questions, and I'm like, that's not really the, like, you're too in the weeds for shit that don't matter. Like the part where it's like the guy that they have presented as like the number 3 guy in the company for like the last 3-4 years is like pissed off over payoffs for merch and like being rushed back from injury and like feeling like he just got like released like via text message or whatever.
He was threatened to be fired or something like that.
Right. And it's like, forget that part. Forget about who the fucking booker is right now. This is nuts. Like, this is nuts. So that in itself was like wild. And like, obviously, you know, there are a bunch of people trying to parse through it, and it's hard because of like how, you know, closed off they are to the public and how they keep, you know, kayfabe, and how he's breaking kayfabe by doing this. And
I don't know if we ever see him in New Japan again.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. I don't know. Anything could happen for me. Like if he comes back, I wouldn't be surprised. If he never wrestled again, I wouldn't in Japan. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just really weird how this is unfolding, and like it just feels like this is like a weird thing where it's like he's airing so much dirty laundry, or it's like he goes back to the locker room. What's going to happen then? You know, like, you know, he also outed a number of guys as cheaters, like by name and shit. It's like, yo, what is, you know, as people having, you know, extramarital affairs, it's like, what are you doing? And, you know, that's a bigger deal over there than it is here. And yeah, it just like, it's all going bad, and like it looks like he's having from what perspective, be like he's having like some type of meltdown. Like, what is going on? Why can't anybody hold him? Can't figure this all out? And then on the other end, he's like, you know, he's responding to people that are, you know, asking like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "No, I'm fine. Like, I'm good." And it's like, "Are you though?" It's like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, it's kind of wild, and like but you still, in, you know, because of translation, we still don't know exactly what the fuck is going on. Like, I mean, I don't know if Meltzer's written about it, or if he's talking or if Fumi's talking about it at all, but it just looks like he's like in the Tyson zone almost.
Right.
Yeah. And then like the real one top, the real one was like, whoa, was like when he's like, I forgot what the mission, but he made a reference to like saying like there's like some, you know, Yakuza connection. Is like, yo, whoa, what? Huh? you ain't supposed. This ain't we supposed to talk about, baby. Like, no, this is bad for business. This is bad for business. I don't know. I don't know. This is bad for his health and well-being too. I don't know, man. Like, and then at the same time, over here you got the YSL thing going on. So then Rich is talking about like Japan, it's YSL. You're an idiot, man.
You're an idiot. YSL worldwide. The
YSL stands for Yakuza.
What else you think it's still for?
Oh my fucking god!
Let's go to questions, man.
Do we need to explain? We're not explaining. I'm not explaining YSL. Y'all
we're not.
Go to Twitter.
I'm not being implicated. I ain't
speaking on that.
I don't want them getting confused. The FBI really ain't one for nuance. Also,
I'm not speaking on that.
When it comes to a RICO, that's over there with it. Like, it's over. But yes, Ladero Negro, Yakuza Slime Life. Yes. In the comments.
What was your favorite YSL meme? But before we move on, what was your favorite YSL meme?
I think just saying insert whatever person is YSL.
Anybody you hate that you want to see hauled off the jail is in YSL, and you switch it.
Like I think I saw Amy Schumer wearing a YSL chain. I heard Jack Harlow is in YSL.
You know what's funny? At the press conference, the DA actually got a question about Jack Harlow, and she was like, she wanted to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? No. But she was like, no, as of now, no.
I think that was my favorite type of thing.
My favorite was someone found, because they had the pictures of the YSL. I forgot what album cover it was or what it was for, but like they, they're in some fancy house, they're dressed to the nines, and they all sitting around each other, and then you see like they have dyed one of their dogs, I think it's a pit bull, like a lime green color, and then like someone took a picture off the internet of a dog basically sitting in the back seat of a cruiser, of a police cruiser behind the cage, and then like basically like tinted it green. So like at first you didn't know, or you knew, and it was hilarious. It's like somebody's trying to scam y'all that slime dog has been that the YSL dog has been fucking been implicated and put into the kennel for this shit. And bro, I thought that shit was hilarious. Like, damn, they locked up Slime Dog. That's a damn shame.
Yes. YSL, the new BMF.
Kind of.
50 of them things. In the street. So, yeah, man. We'll go to a couple questions we got from Jeremy and Josh. He said, Jeremy said, if you could trade someone from WWE to AEW for MJF, who would it be? Oh, I got my answer, James.
For MJF?
Yes.
So do I have to make a fair trade on behalf of both of them, or just whatever I want because I don't care about what happens to WWE?
I mean, if you're taking a good person from WWE, I'm sure you wouldn't trade MJF for trash.
Okay. I guess if they lose, AEW loses. I don't know, man. Like. I don't know. Like who's really killing it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I guess Sasha. I don't know. Yeah, let's say Sasha. Whatever.
Okay. I would trade Drew McIntyre for MJF straight up and run to the podium to do it.
Okay.
Like we've seen what they've been booking Drew since last year. Oh man, great comment. Julia took out the bridge for the latest show. She's trying to beat them YSL allegations. But we've seen how they've been booking Drew McIntyre, Lothario Negro. So, he's not been booked very well. Change of scenery for him would be welcome. I'm high on Drew McIntyre. When you sent that question to me earlier, who's your favorite WWF champion? Before sending the picture of Nanae Takahashi, I was thinking, with
the winged eagle.
Yes, I was thinking to myself, I was like, HBK.
Put that Austin. Up on the screen so they can see that shit.
Yeah. I was like HBK, Austin, Drew McIntyre. He's one of the people I was thinking about. Whatever. I was like, yeah, I trade Drew McIntyre for MJF.
Okay. It's weird because it's like I'm thinking in terms of like sports, where it's like you got to do something that's like involving age, and like they're so far away in age where it's like
right
anybody that you want to trade for MJF is like it doesn't even seem like a fair trade or whatever else. Yeah, it's hard. So that's why I went with Sasha. Is like they're relatively close in age, and like Sasha will be a huge boost for the women's division if she ever end up in AEW.
Oh, also the discourse and the online like chaos that would cause.
Yeah, because a lot of that Sasha crew don't fuck with AEW, and then they have to flip up.
Then they're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yes. So
like,
if
we got
you guys
what you like. You see Sasha like a whole picture of Sasha Banks and Tony Khan holding the picture up like this, like we got what she like. It's almost and they could be like, damn, they could be like, they gonna act like as if Tony Khan held her hostage if she ended up in AEW. Meanwhile, she's dropping titles on the desk and walking away from WWE, but she be held hostage in AEW. Go fucking figure.
So I'm gonna display the Nanae Takahashi. This post came from @Cult of Bull. I don't know where Nanae Takahashi got this belt. I don't know how old Nanae Takahashi is here.
She's probably in her early 20s by that point in time.
So maybe WWF was over. They didn't really go to Japan that often back then. So I don't know.
I have no idea how she got a hold of that shit, but I remember seeing that. I was like, wait, what? Why the fuck would she even know? Barely even like if you were to imagine like would a Japanese wrestler know what a WWE's top title looked like in the mid to late 90s? You probably like, I guess, but to actually have one on hand and in this like take a photo with it, like, that's wild.
Right.
Where the fuck they make replica belts over there?
I can't say. But Josh number 2, and happy birthday, or this is Josh number 1, sorry. Happy birthday to Josh Smith. We were at his place and we watched like a super card of matches from every promotion pretty much over the last, I don't know what the earliest match was, but as far as date wise, but we watched a lot of great matches. What was your favorite match that you had up there that you saw?
The one that impressed me the most was a tag team match with Marufuji and Kenta and Ishimori, and I can't remember who else was in it.
Kenta.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that'd be the match that like
and Kota Ibushi.
That's right, Kota Ibushi's who I'm forgetting. Yeah, so yeah, that was super impressive. I had never seen it before. It's like a match from like 2007 or 2008, some shit like that. That was super impressive. And like, it's funny because like, you watch enough New Japan and you kind of like, you can kind of get over some of the acts or whatever else. Like Ishimori's a great wrestler, but it's like consistently great, not so much, and whatever else. But like you see that match, and you're like, oh, we're not tripping. You're not tripping the first time you saw that dude. Like dude is like explosive as hell, and like it was really good. And like maybe he didn't bring it all the time or whatever else, but in that match he damn sure that match was great. But like there was a lot of stuff like I actually I can't really tell you everything because typical James Boyd fashion, I showed up late for the shit, so I missed like 2 or 3 matches. So you have to tell me what I missed out on.
You missed. I don't think there was. I was marking out over Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka. Somehow I just never seen it. I wasn't much of a big ECW watcher, but
he fucking murdered him. He murdered Tanaka like 40 times.
That power bomb he did, like over the top, like awesome bomb over the top rope through the table. That shit was crazy. Omega and Ibushi, of course. I haven't watched that match in a couple of years, but it's like the athleticism, the violence, just jump off the page, the selling, the back and forth. It was just like, how can anyone not like either of these people? It was just mind boggling, like how great that was still. And the guys at the time were pointing out, like, hey, when you saw this match in real time, it was like we all thought that was like, yeah, that's just a 5-star match.
Yeah,
but that's like the preview for like the real match that was coming. So and that match hasn't come to fruition yet. But yeah, that shit was incredible. And the Noah tag, as you mentioned, those were my two favorites on the night. I thought, I finally got to see that big PWG 6-man. Thought it was good, but I think Dave like probably got the live bump on that.
Yeah. I also, like, one thing that I will always mention is, like, if you're going to watch a bunch of high level wrestling, the flippy shit is not gonna, like, you play that last unless it's something like spectacular. Like, it's not gonna like hit you in that same way watch people beat the shit out of each other will. It just doesn't. I don't know why, but it just is. Like, and I remember, I don't know, whatever, Josh, is his birthday. He put the list every once, but I had thrown out a suggestion, like, maybe you should, like, put the flippy shit on earlier or whatever else. And, like, not to say that
match was on first.
I wouldn't say that wasn't, like, it wasn't impressive. It was, like, but, like, the thing was, like, you're watching basically, like, these Rocky fights, and then you watch this match where it's, like, it is like this super coordinated stuff, and it's really cool and really awesome to think of people like being able to coordinate all this stuff to get people in position to do all this stuff and all these flips and all this crazy dives and whatever else. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, I just saw people go to war, and now, like, the flips are coming out, and, like, I think, it's just one match and it's them, but it's like, it's the Young Bucks, it's Will Ospreay, it's Ricochet, it's Adam Cole, it's Matt Sydal, and they're just basically just doing every flipping dive they can think of or whatever else. And it was a blast, but it just didn't hit me in that same way as watching, like, watching Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. And I'm not saying, like, it necessarily should, but it's like, these different styles, it comes down to taste. And, like, I think, just me personally, like, I always feel like the flips have to be like, the flippy match has to be way better than the hard hitting, like, slugfest, to make it, like, stand up over time. And we watched a lot of people beating the shit out of each other for a number of hours before we finally got to that match.
Yeah. Josh asks, hopes and expectations for the Forbidden Door card. So, I think there's a lot of, like, different ways you can go on that. I know me personally, I hope that the build for this thing isn't entirely in AEW. I feel like it shouldn't be on the onus of only being promoted on Dynamite. I feel like there should be some type of big angle at Dominion or something, like with AEW dudes hopping the ass on a plane and getting over there to do something that's dope, or whoever, if somebody's in a singles match, dropping somebody, or, sending the gang over there to walk out, essentially. Like, I want to see that kind of thing, in the lead up to it. I think I said, I'd like to see at least maybe like 3 singles matches. I know they're trying to get a lot of people on the card, so I'm anticipating some 6-mans, maybe even a 10-man, maybe a battle royal at some point. But like, I want to see, like, stuff happening in Japan too. New Japan of America's cool, but I want to see stuff in Japan too.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think they can get away with just 2. So they can basically, like, obviously, Okada's winning, Hangman or whoever is the champion, most likely Hangman is going to win. But like if you have the 2 title matches or whatever else, I think that'd be the most fun. The easiest thing to do. You basically have both champions win, and then after that, like factional stuff where like Chaos versus I don't know the whatever the hell Adam Cole and the Young Bucks calling each other right now, depending on what's going on with Kenny Omega. Like, I think that would be cool. Now, and then from there it's like anything else after that is like fine. Like, do a Rambo, get people on the car, let their music hit, get their pops, have their dumb bad for a Rumble match. But then that's really my only expectations. Like, give me 2 big singles matches, get a win for each top guy, that you want to put in a big spot. And then like do, the cool top factions versus top factions. And then like, obviously like go beat Bushi, go beat, Bobby Fish and get the fuck on. But, outside of that, like that's really, like, I don't think you have to do that much. But you just got to do more than Noah and New Japan.
Yeah, that's a low bar to jump over. I feel like
right.
Lothario Negro has a great suggestion. He said it would be cool to do a Rumble for a G1 spot or something. Like they could even have like if they're sending somebody to G1 from AEW, they could have them win, or they can have one of the New Japan guys just win. Be like, yeah, I punched my ticket to G1. If you don't want to actually send someone,
that's cool. That's cool. I mean, it's not doing a miniature G1 to get to it to get a slot in G1 like Stardom's doing, but yeah, it's cool. It's nice. It's nice.
They could have Tony Khan and Obari come out and they do some type of ceremony or something.
What kind of ceremony?
I don't know. It's just something that's funny or whatever.
What they gonna do? Light the Olympic torch? Like what the fuck?
Yes.
What the fuck you want me to do?
Yes, light the torch of pro wrestling, and then they have like Tanahashi come out, and then have like I don't know whoever the fuck you want to bring out for AEW, like, and figure something out. I want to see some type of ceremonial aspect, like something that lays the ground for future events.
All right,
like to see that too.
Okay, so I got one. All right, so like you do a video montage or video clips, and you have like Liger and Flair and like Bret Hart and like Chono and like basically have like little nice messages about like the partner or like
Forbidden Door.
About this doing this this thing and they're gonna do I think they're talking about doing one in Japan too as well, and then like talk about how like they're going to try to do this, this thing of like uniting American wrestling and Japanese pro wrestling or whatever else, and that like I would like to see like some of the old timers and they get a chance to do this like that are big parts of American pro wrestling, Japanese pro wrestling, like be able to show their face in some way, shape, or form for this. Mm-hmm. Like I would like to see like Muto on like show his face on here, not wrestle, but show his face on here.
Like we don't even know how close like Keiji Muto was. Like Keiji Muto has appeared in AEW before.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We didn't know how close this was to us.
Don't do this. Don't do this. You ain't got to do this. We ain't got to go there.
I'm afraid like of seeing Keiji Muto in the building because like someone may be tempted to like a world title may be tempted to fall toward him. Like I don't. We need to bar him from the building.
I don't think we have this concern with these two companies. Like in Noah, that's a concern, but like Noah's in a bad, not in a bad way, but like Noah's in a different reality than these two companies.
I hope. But like I just hope it's like a show where like the wrestlers can kind of display how cool they are, like, and why they've been cool for a long time. Like I'm very interested to see what Swerve does on the show. He told me he was booked for the show, so I'll give you that. So I don't know. I didn't ask him what he was doing yet, but Like to see him in there. Like to see like, you know, LIJ coming out. Like I want to see what Naito does like in America. Like he doesn't come over here often. Like he did the Garden and stuff like that. You know, Okada's been here several times. Tanahashi's been here several times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how's Will Ospreay going to be received? That's very interesting.
Like I don't know about how it's going to be received over here, but once that bell rings, brother, he will be OVER.
Man. And I want to see Kenny, of course, like, you know, show up. Like, I don't like if he's not, you know, in a match or something, you know, if he appears after Okada's match or whatever and points him out like, yo, when we doing part 5, you know, and then figure that out. So that'd be pretty cool. Or, you know, have him show up and, you know, give a V-trigger to Jay White or something. That'd be
just randomly hit strike Jay White.
You know, so that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, very excited about that show. That show is like 40 days away. So wow. It's amazing how fast that's coming up. Double or Nothing is coming. A lot of stuff still being set up for that as well. Like got the Mae Young, or not the Mae Young, the Owen Hart classic stuff set to culminate there. Punk and Hangman official, MJF and Wardlow. So it's gonna Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. So we're looking to see where the chips fall on all this stuff, especially like, you know, going into Forbidden Door. Like I hope Double or Nothing like pops, you know, like a pretty good card out, because like some of the stuff is all over the place. They had BCC align with Kingston and PMP. Looks like maybe there's something going on with Jericho there. Maybe some type of blood and guts match. Who knows? Some type of 5-on-5. Gonna be interesting to see how they all play that out.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
I'm good. I'm gonna start trouble on Twitter the rest of the night. I already have some tweets taken off about Sasha. So apparently they did like one of these Corey Graves burials. So I'm gonna play the audio here on the stream if you want to lock in, James. So like apparently he was kind of subtly calling Sasha and Naomi unprofessional. So let's see.
Originally scheduled to be part of a 6-pack challenge until WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha Banks and Naomi summarily and unprofessionally left the arena before this match could take place.
Incredible. They had Graves do the dirty work for Vince there. So, oh man. I will be continuing to follow this story and all that. So I guess we can leave it here for the week. So hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. I may next week or this, like on Friday or Thursday, come back and put a show on the feed, basically updating everybody on like Golden Week of Stardom. There's been a lot of stuff. Like there's a whole show worth of stuff between the 7 Golden Week shows that included a pay-per-view, the Grand Prix, or 20. The announcement there's going to be 26 people in the Grand Prix. 22 of them have been announced. One's a mystery person, and then there's 3 slots open, and they're basically doing like a juniors G1 block to decide like the final the other 3 that gets in. The pay-per-view for Oda War Gym is in a couple weeks, and like there's Tam and Kyrie tagging together. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we also go through all the matches or whatever else. I haven't even started watching any of the Road to Golden Week stuff. Like I'll go through all that stuff in the next few days, and then like as I get through it, then I'll like give y'all a review, or it'll all be like hopefully that'll be it, because I'm not trying to do a whole hour long tacked on at the end after doing 2 hours on AEW and everything else in the wrestling world for Stardom at like 11 next Monday. I'm not doing that. So like I can probably bang out like a anywhere from 45 to 80-minute show out of all that stuff. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. So be on the lookout for that. But thanks for listening to the show.
Joshi with James.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Like I'm thinking of like calling somebody to come do the show with me. But we'll see how this goes. But yeah, thanks for listening. Be sure to rate some whatever app you're using to listen to this with. Go to our Red Circle drop for a donation. If you're listening on the stream, hit us up with the bits. Go to the PayPal donations. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have the Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, The Grave Consequences, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, and AEW Match Guide. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Chris Paul is ass.
Later.
You made it. Checked out of office to check into the sweet views of this place where the kids aren't asking for the Wi-Fi.
Mom, can we go to the pool?
And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
Introducing Under Armour's Infinity High Sports Bra. Its ergonomic design is molded to support the natural movement of your body. With cord-out padding, the better breathability eliminates extra bulk without sacrificing support. And quick-dry padding is Under Armour's fastest-drying padding yet. When you're lifting heavy, running fast, and pushing yourself further than ever before, you need a bra that will help you go that extra mile and make you feel your best. Shop the Infinity High Sports Bra now at UA.com.